Guys, let's talk about the game of the weekend. The Chiefs traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints, and it is now official. Drew Brees is a go to start at quarterback. And look who's here with us, Mr. Ryan Clark. Guys, I'm going to start with Max here. And Max, I want to know, is Mahomes already better than Brees?
Yes, he is.
Greater. Not better, greater.
He's greater than Brees. Yes, he is. Like, think about it like this, guys. Let's say Mahomes.
Hold on. Before you continue, could you please explain the difference between greater? I mean, because I need to understand. I want to hear your argument. But you said greater as opposed to better. Could you please explain the definition of the two?
Clearly, he's better.
Are you asking me or are you asking Max?
Mahomes better than Brees. What we're asking is he greater? Okay, so what is different, better, and greater? Let me give you an example. In track and field, that's the one sport we can measure objectively. We can put a stopwatch on it, right? We know that every top 10 sprinter in the world today would dust Jesse Owens. They're all better than him. But we wouldn't say they're greater than him. You want to say Usain Bolt is, maybe, right? Something like that. But they're not greater. They did not dominate their contemporaries or do in their eras what he did in his, right? So, and furthermore, what I think we mean by greater, and people have different definitions in sports, but I don't think it's just total career value, right? Because then you get what people call compilers. You know, they have good season after good season after good season, and there's value in that, right? Best ability is availability. I just don't really believe that that's what we're talking about. I think we mean who hit the highest peak, and not just as a fluke, but it was a repeatable, talent. And that's what I think we mean by greater. That's what I mean by greater. If Mahomes never played another down of football, and I thought about the best I'd ever seen, I always think about Mahomes. Let me tell you something. In his career so far, like, Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback of all time, right? But he always throws more interceptions than Mahomes. Mahomes throws not only more touchdowns, but fewer interceptions on average. Better touchdown-interception ratio. Mahomes clearly has the far more powerful arm. And Mahomes has done things in terms of peak performance. He can't match Brees' career. Hasn't been around that long. But the Brees has never done. Brees never won an MVP. Brees never threw 50 touchdowns. Well, this is Mahomes' third season starting. His first season, he threw 50 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions and got a play away from the Super Bowl. His second season, he improved his touchdown-to-interception ratio and won Super Bowl MVP. And this year, he might do both. Mahomes has, at the peak of his game, when people talk about the greatest quarterback or the best quarterback they've ever seen, no one ever says Drew Brees. He's in the conversation among the greats, and I love me some Drew Brees. But if you want to say it's Peyton at his best or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, do we really talk about Brees that way? Because if you asked me, and I ain't the only one, point blank, who's the best you ever put your eyes on, I would say Patrick Mahomes right now. And I think that captures what we really are trying to say by greatness. It can't just be for one season, but Mahomes is working on his third already. I think that's really what we mean, and I would say yes, Mahomes over Brees.
I respectfully disagree, but I'm a preface it by saying respectful because I understand where you're coming from, and that's why I asked you for that definition because I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So I appreciate the explanation, okay? Even though there was a 50-26 touchdown drop-off, he threw 50 his first year, and then he had 26 touchdown passes last year, and now he's got about 33 this year and counting. Let me just say this. I'm very, very big on resume, Ryan, as Max knows. Resume matters to me. Drew Brees is in his 21st year. He's had 20 years in the National Football League already. Max Kellerman, 5 of those times he has thrown for over 5,000 yards. Another 3 times he's thrown for over 4,800 yards. He's completed over 70% of his passes the last 5 straight seasons. And he's done it about 7 or 8 times in his career as well. So when I look at Patrick Mahomes, certainly he can run better. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, certainly he's a gunslinger with more of a rifle arm. But when I think about the quarterback position, I think about accuracy, I think about dependability and what have you. I'm not trying to tell you that Patrick Mahomes won't end up being greater than Drew Brees, but don't you have to do more before we're able to say that? about you in comparison to Drew Brees, if for nothing else, out of respect for the resume that this man has had. I'm looking at his numbers right now. Drew Brees, okay, has thrown for 79,000 yards. I'm going to repeat that, Super Bowl champion Ryan Clark. 79,000 yards. Okay? I mean, damn. Can somebody help a brother out? I'm going to say it one more time. 79,000 yards. Damn.
Yeah,
So again, the 79,000. The 5 years with over 5,000 yards passing. The 5 straight years he's completed over 70% of his passes. I didn't even look at the touchdown to interception ratio. I'm sorry, Max. I apologize. 565 touchdowns. 565 touchdown passes, Max Kellerman. That's how many guys, compared to 240 interceptions. That's a better than 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio.
Max.
I mean, damn.
Yo,
Go ahead, Ryan.
That's not
Stephen A. Max.
Yeah.
So here's truly how you have to look at this question. There's either an impossibility to answer it, right? In the sense of what you're saying is, if it's about resume, then it's not a question. Because if it's about resume, then Patrick Mahomes hasn't played long enough that the resume can be greater in totality than Drew Brees. Like, that's easy, right? Now, if we take resume out of it, right, which maybe we can't do, Stephen A. Maybe y'all have asked a question that you necessarily can't answer by your criteria. But if you take that out, if we're taking out longevity and the ability to play well for a long period of time, and we're just going to look at it and say, you know what? If we had an all-time draft, and we could draft any quarterback that we ever wanted to draft, who would be talked about? Who would be picked? My thought is, and I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks and players to ever play football. So I'll say that first before the New Orleans Saints fans go crazy. And now I can't go down and eat at Drago's, even though they love me for saying something about him on TV the other day. If you had that conversation, Drew Brees doesn't enter the top 5 of that conversation. I think right now Patrick Mahomes does.
Can I interject
right
there?
Aaron Rodgers does.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to throw this to you because I got it, and I'm going to defer to you, but it's a sincere question. What I'm saying is do you believe and do you agree with me when I say there are certain quarterbacks that have accomplished such phenomenal things that they don't deserve to have somebody in their 3rd year compared to them? When you do what he has done with the sustained level of excellence over that length of a period, can I sit up there and say to Patrick Mahomes, can you give me 5 or 6 years as opposed to 3? Because remember, Max, we were talking about Carson Wentz in very glowing fashion 3 years ago.
But you were never talking about Carson Wentz like this, though.
Guys,
you were never talking about Carson Wentz like this.
I know that.
Like, let me just answer this right quick, Max, before you go. But that's my point, though, Stephen A. If that's your answer, if your answer is we shouldn't compare them right now because Drew Brees has accomplished these amount of things, the statistics say this, and this is what we know about him because of 2 decades of play, then I agree with that. But if we are trying to compare them, and if we are looking at them based on criteria that we actually have of both of them, we don't have 20 years of Patrick Mahomes because he ain't that dang old. So if we're just going to talk about the Patrick Mahomes that we've seen, who has already accomplished certain things that Drew Brees hasn't in 20 years, then you could say, yeah, he's probably already greater or already better, or his peaks are higher than we've ever seen from Drew Brees. And no, we can't compare the entire careers. One dude started for 3 years, one dude started for 20. But if you would ask people, okay, if we put Patrick Mahomes in New Orleans with Sean Payton, could he put up those numbers? Hell yeah. Right? If we put Patrick Mahomes in this situation and Drew Brees in this situation, would Patrick Mahomes be better? Hell yeah.
Bottom line is Patrick Mahomes has already won as many Super Bowls as Drew Brees, and he's won more MVPs. And it's as though if you took Michael Jordan, Stephen A., in those first 3 years he played, or he was hurt in that second year. So take 3 of the first 4 years he played. Take his best 3 seasons, right, of those first 4 years. And along the way, he'd already won an MVP and a Finals MVP. He'd already won a championship, and he's looked like he was on his way to another one. And you asked the question, is he already greater than Dr. J or someone like that? You might say, yeah, because he'd already hit a higher peak. And part of it is you're guessing where he's going. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but I think after this season, we're sitting on a guy 3 seasons in his career with potentially 2 Super Bowl MVPs and maybe even 2 regular season MVPs in 3 years. Hasn't done that yet, but he's in the running to do both those things, and he's already got an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, and he's already done things with his arm. Like eyeball test, the only guy comparable is Aaron Rodgers already.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you there, but in my estimation, just for the record to end the segment, I would like y'all to remember, I didn't think Patrick Mahomes deserved Super Bowl MVP. Matter of fact, those first 3 quarters, he wasn't that impressive at all. But I know that he's a stud, but there are question marks, and let's see. All I'm saying is, I know how great he is. Let's see what he's doing.
Question marks.
All right, guys. Definitely hard to compare their resumes. They're at completely different points in their career. But if we are looking at Patrick Mahomes at just the age of 25, he is already the all-time leader in passer rating, also passing yards per game.
What you waving your hands like that at me, Ryan? For
of both of those categories. All right, guys, we got to go. Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us. We wish you a great Friday. And we have another quarterback conversation on the horizon.